Good morning, traders. We're here for our AM chart session. I have up to 2 hours, of which I'll take some breaks, but I'm going to be here 2.5 hours. High time frame down and then back testing, looking at Bitcoin, ETH, and macro. So let's start from the highest time frame and work our way down. This is the 12-month Bitcoin chart on Coinbase back to January 14. Big red year. If this year is like this year, then we would rally towards the top of this body. I mean, this is not the brightest analysis, but come up, and this would make sense to me, come up towards 48 right here, and then end the year down here. Um, let's go to the 3-month time frame, and it would be saying we would have a major rally that would take us up towards this area over the next 2 months. Possible. We look at the monthly green. It was just such a big green dildo of a month. I mean, to me, it's likely the prevailing trend is up now, and I'm finally on the right side, or at least I might be on the wrong side, but I've adjusted my habits. Like, let's trust that this trend is up now. It makes sense. We've broken major trend lines. I know people are saying macro is bad. Like, macro is getting better. CPI is coming down. Rates are near their peak. COVID's done. War is closer to finish than start. What is there to be? What is there to be too worried about? So we could get some pullbacks and so on. Like, I'm interested to see what the catalyst would be to take us this high, but people forget quickly what happened and how much money they made. Yeah, it's just what they do. So, I mean, in the past, for instance, like, as soon as we cleared this, clear this high, clear this high, clear this high, cleared this high even. These big red wicks were a warning sign here. As soon as we cleared this high, you just got to look for higher highs before big moves. Okay, well, we cleared this high and this high. We're coming for this high. I am noticing right now on the Bitcoin chart that we had a huge green candle and then a smaller green candle and then an even smaller green candle, which so far this week, it's only been Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days, but we have an inside week so far. So maybe I'm wrong, but my expectation, we don't need to come back and fill this inefficiency. Those can get left behind. Um, or some of it might get filled. Maybe this one back to 21. I don't know, but certainly we're in an uptrend now over the last 3 weeks, which is stronger than any of these rallies we've seen by a lot. It's been more vigorous. This one maybe lasted longer, and this one maybe lasted longer, but this is more vigorous. Now, it's slowing down in terms of each week is less than the last. So I think it makes sense to be interested in pullbacks and then pay attention to this as being a major target where if we get up to 25 too, there's probably going to be a lot of profit taking and people cooling off. I don't think there's actually a lot of shorts that were opened here many months ago and are still sitting in them. Although I think it's quite possible that people will just plunge in with their shorts and drive the price up. But yeah, I mean, we have to look at when major targets are taken, pull back, major targets. Yeah. But now I'm gonna jump in and look at a lower time frame and say, continue to bash myself for this mistake. I was long 53 Bitcoin right here. It filled me by $1, never even came back to entry. I was never underwater. I could have ridden it. And I say, well, if I had held that till now, I would be up $400,000 on that position, 350,000 to $400,000 on that position. But it actually should be more, because if I'm in this and it starts to move in my favor, I should add to my position here. I should add to my position here. From there, I could maybe even add to my position here or here and make millions, but I didn't do that. And it's possible because I had in my mind for these higher targets. I just fucked up in execution. And I did it before in this Bitcoin short where I added once, twice, 3 times. Closed right in here, which is fine. Yeah, right in here. Not the best, not the worst, pretty good. Average entry was here, closed down here. Had a larger position. So adding on is something I like to do. It's something I should have done, something I did not do. Okay, now we're gonna come back to Bitcoin, but I want to look at some higher time frame. The indices, we have a higher low. We're coming for a higher high. I think if we start to take these highs, we could possibly be back to all-time highs quickly. I don't see why not. It's like the market tends to go up, when we have these bottoms, like as soon as we start to take some highs. Yeah, it might take a while, but it will happen. Yeah, it might take years, really, but we'll see how long it takes. But we're breaking key trend lines. We're pushing higher. I mean, this is a place where if price doesn't reject, we probably go much higher very soon, or start to grind much higher. The dollar, where is it headed? It's under this breakout point. We took equal highs here. We have equal lows. Why wouldn't it come take these equal lows? I don't know if it makes sense to do TA on DXY like this, but um, this is an idea that we could go back to 88 or something like that. This possibility. Now, before we get into the shorter time frame chart, I want to look at HY block capital and look at where the liquidity is on Binance. And it's showing, yeah, there's some heat over 48. The most is at 25 right now, 25.6. So that's a major long target, after which it would make sense to have some cooling off and pull back. Whether we go there first and pull back, or pull back then go there, or go there and no pullback, these things are all possible. These rallies, even if it takes, say, 2 months, it's still going to be a little while. And I don't know that we have the conditions to go there so fast, Maybe up to this high, because if you, the thing is, most of these shorts did already cover, but these shorts from FTX didn't necessarily. These shorts from here did not necessarily. So that was a lot of fuel to get higher. You can see how much liquidity there was in this move up, but after 25, there's a lot of black areas where it will take organic buying to really get this price this high, or chronic short sellers to step in, which is possible. I mean, people going degen long can drive the price up, but it's not really sustainable as we saw. If they're doing that with high leverage, and they will get wicked out. So we look on the 6 months, it's still showing quite a bit of heat above us. It's probably somewhat dangerous to be short. I do have a short in my paper trading, although I have more longs. The paper trading is awkward and I don't really like it because let's look at it. You know why? Because I think it doesn't let me trade longs and shorts at the same time. So I have, yeah, a tiny short that closed my long, and then I don't know, I don't really. I wonder if there's a setting where I could do that. Settings, trading settings, hedge. Let me Google this. Trading view, paper trading, hedge mode, hedging. Advanced setting. Mm, okay, doesn't have. Maybe I need to trade with Lucky's. Uh, it's not really working for me. Like my longs got closed, which I didn't like. I need to, I guess, trade long on one side and short on the other side. Okay, there's a case to that we go higher, like today. So let's trust in that. On the 3 months, we see the hottest spots are below us at 15 and 13.4, but it seems like too far to go. It seems unlikely we get there. And 25.2 is the nearest and biggest. Now we drop down to the 1 month. Things are a little more interesting on the 1 month. The hottest spots are directly above and 25,000. But we are starting to see long liquidity building. A lot at 17. I don't think we go back down there, but it's possible. But there's a lot at 19. There's a lot at 20. Starting to build. So even if the bear market sort of ends, like it will probably take some time to wind down. So yeah, we see a lot of liquidity over the highs here. It's likely we take that, and then maybe that gives us our burst to 25. It's also possible we reject in the 24,000 area and have a pullback. It's also possible we take 25 and just keep going. But I think this gives us a picture of how things might be. Now I want to zoom out again and look at, let's turn off paper trading. Kind of junk, but whatever. So for the end of the bull market, if you guys remember this period from January to April, we had 4 months of just chopping, ranging, and bleeding upwards, grinding upwards. And I think it's not impossible that we have a lot of sideways activity as well. Or not sideways, but like wild swing. Like, why would we not have wild swings? It's like, yeah, I mean, this has been quite a very long and strong trend. The strongest since here, maybe, or this push, or going back to this push, right? That was a lot stronger in a shorter period of time. That was crazy. But there are these pullbacks that happen. So I want to see a pullback as an opportunity to add to longs or to, I guess, get in trade longs. Now, I'll drop in and to look at what's going on here. Now, my philosophy right now is a little bit different. Like, if I can catch a move like that, can't go back in time, but I can go into the future, and there may be opportunities like this. But I want to trade like a professional gambler. I want to trade often, express my edge often through multiple setups. And yeah, that is my idea. So now looking at the chart where we have our daily highs and lows and fair value gaps, we have our major long liquidity area at 25,000. We have our major short liquidity area at 20,000. We have two possible pivot areas in between. Above the current highs at 23.9 and below the current lows at 21,873. So, I'm also paying attention to these trend lines as there are some, like, I'm looking for one to be sort of found as support, one of these higher time frame ones, and to be bounced on a number of times. And that will give me an idea for um, possible breakdown shorts. So maybe price breaks out, it comes out here, and we grind up, right? Well, now this trend line we can short down to in here or even down to in here as possibilities. Um, I have a breakout. I'm gonna break down short, which is not going particularly well, and I have a breakout long above. Maybe it's too early, and I should wait for price to um, consolidate more, because now, and also I can consider that this short that I took, it would have been better to enter using a lower time frame, which is initially what I had considered, but I didn't do. Something like this, and it doesn't mean the trade would work, but we would have gotten a better entry and position more. So I think, and I'm okay with that, wanting to use lower time frame to get more precise entries on my breakout and breakdown shorts. So let me go to the charts where I don't have a bunch of trade setups on them right now. So on the daily, I have my daily exhaustion setup, which it just doesn't work that often. I would have found a short right in here, which could have been small. It hasn't found a long in ages. It would not have found this long. Um, it it might have found this long actually. Yeah, it could have taken this long with this candle, but I don't know. Yeah, I was thought that we would go into this larger area here, take these lows, and daily exhaustion could have taken a loss here, and might have taken a loss in here. Wow, so crazy. Like, candles just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Wish I had that money, but my lifestyle is not in jeopardy, and that's the important thing. But I do want to get a move on. Okay. Now, I could probably just close my breakdown short, because, and maybe reposition if I want to. It just didn't happen, right? Um, and I can trade on different sides. Like, I can have a long one. So here's what we'll do. Yeah, I like this. Okay, we're gonna have new sections. Let's move this. A section long. Say shorts, longs, because I can't trade both sides. So I'm gonna have my perp on the long side and shorts. Well, I gotta have my shorts at section macro. Okay, I want to close this one and reposition. It didn't. It didn't work. It's not in my favor. It could bounce off that, but now I'm more interested in a breakdown below. Like, a breakdown should work right away. I don't think I don't like closing winners early. There's nothing wrong with closing a loser early, something that's spending most of its time against me. So let's go to trading panel. Let's go to paper trading, and let's close this one. Okay, we're not in this anymore. I wish I was still in my long. I'm not in it because of the short. Yeah, I wasn't able to hedge properly. So let's cancel this idea. Go long here. I'm supposed to be in this long and didn't take any profit, but I'm not in it because by opening the short, it hedged me. I got removed because there was no hedging, which is why I'm going to do longs and shorts this way. I guess I need to have my long here because I'm in a long. So let's back up. So I have a poke the gap on Bitcoin, saying, okay, this is a major liquidity. Let me just stab along in the first possible pivot area. If that fails, I can try an inside ladder. If that fails, we go down here. And if I'm focusing on longs, I don't even want these trend lines in this chart. I want them on the other chart. Okay. I kind of like separating these ideas. Um, I guess the bad thing for longs is we already broke all these trend lines. There's not more to break. No, I guess there was one. That is this. That's the only one that's feels somewhat important. Or I don't know, it's not super important because it's new, but just something to look at. We can also look at this one. So I'm targeting the possible pivot area for my longs. And yeah, I'll just try a bunch of entries if we get them. Okay, I have no daily exhaustion. I have a sweep in the gap. I would need action to have an inside ladder. Don't have. And I have a breakout long, which let me kind of reconsider how much sense this makes. I like it. I could use lower time frame to get in better. But yeah, I kind of like having I want this for my stop loss. Stop should be not the best risk reward, but okay. Also, try to increase my precision, which I think is reasonable. And yeah, I kind of want to. This trend line, these gaps should act as support. Something like this. Not everything needs to be super high RR. Buy stop. Cancel this one. Great limit order. We're gonna buy stop. Risk 1%. Are at what is need to get it back on the right track. Okay, ETH. I think I had a chart here, which I'm gonna take off because this is my long chart. Same idea that okay, I was in a breakout long from here. I advanced my stop and we should if we start taking these, we should go higher. And for here, I mean, it's also quite possible we just reject in here too. So I'm gonna trade some short ideas from that. Let's go to a lower time frame and say like, okay, how about if if we take this high, well, we have this gap. We have some gaps, but if we start taking highs, we should just there's a chance we break up. There's a chance we don't. Again, sounds like just a local invalidation. If we end up closing at this earlier target, it's like a twofer, which is fine. So we're still sitting in this one. I'm gonna buy stop, risking 1%. Now, let's look for shorts. So when I'm looking at shorts, why do I have a buy limit down there from a long time ago? When I'm looking at shorts, just focus. This would be a major short target, and this would be a minor short target. As far as shorts are concerned, I think it's a little bit less interesting right now. Like, I think that at this point, wait for trigger up here makes sense. We could do a breakdown, but I think there's just maybe too much liquidity overhead. And I'm interested in either daily exhaustion but again, if the prevailing trend is up, then I should be more careful on shorts anyways. And be careful with and value my money. So what makes the breakout long better is one, the trend is up, but two, not only do we have local levels, but we have an old level too. That makes it a lot better. This one. Did this one already break? Why do I not have this drawn? No, it didn't. So the reason I have all these trend lines drawn is because I want to see one of them accepted. And if we see one accepted, we would then see liquidity start to build on top of it. This one is interesting. Let's look at this one. Yeah, okay. This one is interesting because we have 3 bounces. So it might become interesting to short it. Yeah, I think it becomes more interesting to short a break of that trend line, which is also a break of several of these other trend lines. So ideally we would want to see a sweep first, but I guess if we, the idea would be if we go below that low, we will at least go into here. If not, down here. Which is sort of, I think that's just too unlikely to aim for. yeah, it would be if we take this low. Problem is, I would prefer to see a more local trend line also on that trend line. So I think I'm gonna probably wait on that. It would be nice to see a sweep here, then something like this. ETH shorts. Same idea. Want to be careful. Number of trend lines. The steeper ones have a ways to go before we come there. But once again, this one is interesting. Now a difference, I guess, from the way I'm trading. Well, from what I understand of like trendline traders is they wait for them to break. So I'm not looking to trade this as support. I'm trading with the idea that it's gonna break. So with ETH, I have a breakout long. Breakdown short might look like this, which looks better on ETH than Bitcoin because we're a lot closer to these lows. This has already been tested once too, which is makes it less likely to hold the next time. The idea would be we would trade inside of here. Like if we go higher, we're gonna go a lot higher. So yeah, we're looking at something like this. And if we break out, it's never filled. But yeah, I mean, if we keep bleeding down, we lose this trend line though, which is a more significant trend line. So I'm okay with trying this one. If we just fall into here, it's okay, but okay. This is gonna be a stop. Okay. And we have our wands. Okay, now I'm gonna take a break and we're gonna go into historic charts and do backtesting and data collection. Let's go. Okay, we're back after an extended break. Let's look at this Bitcoin short again. I just want to see more. Honestly, it might be okay. If we lose this low, we should have it for ETH. Just have a quick move down. I think it might be okay to try that. Sure, yeah. I don't really love it. I like it a lot more on ETH because like my stop should be above this line and this is a main target. the odds that we maybe would come back and form a range in this area would be kind of interesting. It's just not a great, not the best possible risk reward. It looks better on ETH, but maybe I will try it if we lose this trend line. We should go lower. Here, just try it. I think it has more than 0 edge, so anything that has some amount of edge I should take. Okay. How are we on time? 10:50. I have all day for this. Well, I want to take a surf break. It's possible we just keep chopping around. But I think as these consolidations go on, it gets better to look for breakouts. Like early in moves to look for pivots, and then later in moves to look for breakouts. But yeah, so like we go up here, now we're looking for possibly a pivot short after we broke out, and then price does this. Now we're looking for breakouts, price comes down here, we're looking for a pivot long. Price does this, now we're looking for breakouts. Yeah. We will figure it out. We'll be okay. Okay, let's do some back testing. I really want to do the 5-minute chart. Not really going anywhere. How close are we to entering along? We're a ways from it. Yeah, I think it makes sense to. Yeah, I'm just trying the breakout trade on HY block anyways. Or sorry, on paper trading. So let's go trade some area. I already know what happens here. I know what happens here too, but I haven't traded this in a while. So let's take a look. Okay, so we're breaking down. See, this is what's interesting to me as a breakout trade is when you have a high time frame line and then on a lower time frame, price starts to use that as support here. Where, okay, now a break of this becomes quite interesting. Where we put our stop inside of here. It just went to 3R very quickly, although it did come back to our entry. Another example. Going to lower time frames. Get a better entry. We never got a retrace. Okay. And yeah, we've just been using this as a support line. And we have this one. This one breaking. That one was, people looked at this for so long that it bounced. Like the moment we lost it, we just went straight down. So we have this breakdown. We need to not be a rookie amateur trader and just trying to be picking a bottom here. we're in a trend. We should trust that trend until it's over, for now at least, or wait for the pattern of a long to enter here, pattern of a range to enter. Let's play price for a little bit, just straight down. So maybe yeah, just entering this breakdown short, which by the way, some of you guys remember a story. I have a friend who went, no, not a friend, but now I understand. He went short at 38,000. His stop was very tight. He held it all the way down to 20,000. And he did it with huge size. Down to 20,000. So it might have been like a 30, 40 R trade. But after that, we're in a trend and could go breakdown. Like at this point, really the only way to get in is breakdowns. There's no major retracements, but there are a few breakdowns that would have worked. Right here is one. Didn't happen immediately, but it did happen. Right here is one. Okay. Now we can say maybe it makes sense to go short in one of these areas. Price comes back up here. Doesn't quite fill. I know price goes lower, but there's a breakdown idea, I guess, here, just aiming for, I don't know, at this point it probably doesn't make sense. Or this was hard as fuck to trade once this move had started. But why? Just because I have a hard time getting into breakouts. Like I could try this one. I could try this one. The first one actually holds. So the stop inside here actually held. Um, okay, now we start to now I need to pay attention to this. Let's look at the various trend lines here, where we might say, okay, at some point it's going to make sense to go long. Okay. And I think that's right here is the first one. Okay, let's reclaim this. Jesus, the stop's too wide though. Something like this. Just aiming for this liquidity. Would this have worked? Sort of. I think this is where we kind of form a range. Yeah, a tight range. It didn't really work. There's no reason to really trade longs here, I think. Um, I need to practice the trending markets more. That's what I didn't do in my backtesting. Honestly, is I skipped all these trending markets and just traded ranges. And that's why. That's another reason I didn't do well. So I'm just expecting the market to range. Okay, here we are. The market is beginning to range. So we can take a poke the gap here, just aiming up here. And we can take an inside short here, like this. And pay attention to that. Okay, so we got our long. Now we're looking to come up to this high. There could have been a little breakout out on here. We can also try maybe an inside along here. Okay, got stopped out, but we got our +2 here. Now, maybe being short right where this trend line was didn't make sense, because maybe there's a little breakout that makes sense here instead. I don't necessarily see a reason for how we could have picked that top. Because, I mean, now we might be interested in this inside ladder here. Uh, um, if we got filled, we can keep this running. If not, we need to cancel it. At this point, definitely not interested in that. Okay, so we're starting to see this happen. Not yet interested in. Well, hang on. I think on lower time frames, this is okay, actually. It's like that, we can run up to that bigger time, something like this. Um, Something like maybe long on this, just up to the top of the trend line here. Which does work. But there's so much money to be made in the trending markets. What is a 3R? These trend line, I like the trend line breaks. Okay. Now, I would say if we're going to, I'm interested, one of these will be a loser at least, but like an inside short here to somewhere below here, and then also a breakout long just below it. Right here. Or maybe up here. Okay. Less interested in this now. Okay. Hang on, let's back up. What was it? Something like this. Doesn't fill. So what's happening here is we're getting a lot of price compression. A lot of price compression. Okay. No longer interested in this. Let's back up too. Because we have so much liquidity at the lows now that a breakdown short would have been pretty decent here. Not. Okay, there was the +3 here. Now we can trade an inside along. Something like this. Aiming for here. There's a 4R. 80, something like this. And then I'm still interested in this breakout along up to here. Becoming more interesting, actually. As soon as we take one of these highs. Technically my stop should be under here, but just gonna try this, okay? Stopped out. Let's back up. Let's do it right. I'm trying to be greedy in my RR. On these, maybe there's something lower time frame I can use, but my stop is really supposed to be just inside this low. Okay. But now our breakout long can be quite a bit tighter, where we can say what is that? If we take this daily high, we should go higher. This can be our tighter invalidation breakout long. Okay, we broke that line. And there we go. Take that one. Now, there was a lot of lines that were pointing to right there. There's a lot of reasons that that made sense to do. We're pretty close to our target. kind of like holding for it. I don't see a reason to add here. But now we're paying attention to breakdown shorts, possibly, and then also, wow, didn't get there. But I mean, my stop is going to be advanced under this low. So 5 Rs, okay. And I mentioned breakdown shorts being interesting. After a move like this, I suppose after this liquidity sweep here, just trading inside this could have been okay too. Aiming for the lows and or I know price comes right back up here though, it acts crazy. Short under this trend line. For these trend lines with price coming down. Both of them, but then price comes back to these areas. Maybe we close one of them and do another inside short. Price really comes back aggressively. Think, does it not? Here comes a stupid pump. And what called for this? Maybe this right here, where we have something like this breaking, going long, just aiming into this gap could be reasonable. And we need to pay attention to this. So we have the old and we have the local now. And we are going to find support. We got refilled on this one. We're still sitting in this one. Yeah, this wouldn't really have worked for a breakdown. This price action is hard as fuck to trade. Okay, because then we had this, where I want to go short here, but okay, we're stopped out. It's fine. Now this happens. I'll try again. This action is getting tighter. Something like this. Aiming for new lows. Okay. Works. And as this is happening, advancing the stop and adding on here is reasonable probably. It's like this move is not finished. It's how you add on a higher time frame. We could do another breakout. I need to back test these. The truth is I didn't really test these trending markets. I just tested the ranging, so that set me up to get wrecked during the ranging. Yeah, okay. Now you need to pay attention to these. to 22. Let's back up. There's a gap here. So this definitely feels like a small long trigger. Why? Because well, I know we end up going lower, but we have a swing failure and then retracement here, inside a ladder here. Aiming just up here would be reasonable. We get filled, but then I think we just dump more. Now let's back up. We still need to be just looking for shorts, I think. How do we get into this? Well, I think an inside short actually did work. It's not the best entry. Maybe there was something better on a lower time frame. Yeah, we're not trading that. We could say once that's taken, this trend line is meaningless. Or we just missed this part. It's hard to imagine I didn't advance my stop under something here. Catch something with this move. Short here is kind of interesting. And then look, we're starting to pool some liquidity again where it might make sense to do a breakdown short. If we take these lows, we should just launch lower, which we do. And lower, that was the bottom, or a bottom. We're expanding. Now this is quite interesting as a possible long entry here. Just aiming up to here for now. We do get filled, and I'm not sure that we make it to target necessarily. Forget if we go lower or not, but I think it makes sense to try a couple. We lose, we lose. It's no big deal. Just make it rain trades. Stop out. That one's a fill. This one got filled. Stop loss is definitely advanced at this point, although it's only a 3R. Stopped out. Another loss. Don't think we poked this, do we? So there is an interesting one. Now let's back up. Were there breakout longs that I missed here? Yes. We could have done an add-on to our position here. And just hold. Stop below this gap. Hold till this target makes sense. This is a key target. And we do get there. Have a couple losing longs along the way. Okay. This is a good trend line because it's bouncing so many times that when we lose this, we should go lower. It's an add-on. Like first one can be break even, second one targeting down here. Breakout works great. There could be another breakout here, but doesn't really make sense. Um, Possible break out long. But the breakdown short makes more sense to me because we have local levels and old levels together here at a quite a tight invalidation, but doesn't really make sense because we're so close to it. Well, we broke out and it never would have filled, and a long could have filled. Look, maybe we're still in these shorts, maybe we broke even them, but that makes sense to go down here. And I guess we could still have that or something like that. A breakout long, just aiming up here for a 2R would have been fine. So we go, we fill, and I think we go higher. All this is going to get stopped out. Nope. Yep. Yes. Okay, so that is important because none of these things reach targets. They all would have been stopped out for the big dump. Um, and it would have made sense to maybe take profits when this, like use this trend line as our stop loss. Here now. Okay, that's an interesting like inside ladder. Um, okay. Now we have local liquidity, and once again, kind of want to try. It's pointless because it's such a we're so close to target anyways, but okay. Well, it worked. Why not? +2, +7, +9. Back up. This gap we want along there. That is our long entry right there. Now, um, if we're gonna do a breakout long, like as local as possible seems good. So breakout long right here. I know that this whole move retraces, although I don't think we go lower, and then there's another inside ladder here. That would work. Takes a while to do it. Back up. There's some breakouts and breakdowns that are interesting that happen here. So we go from the wick We could do a local one here. Doesn't seem great. Like price to retest and reject. So now it's more interesting. For one, we can break down under this line, which doesn't end up happening, but hook the gap along here, aiming for here. Like I'd like to go higher than here because that should push us up. We end up going this high. Now, I'm also interested in a breakout along now above this trend line, aiming high. So we fill in this. The first breakout is the stop loss. But if we want to try again, now maybe from this day, and it works great. About to take a break here. Long and that, well, it doesn't work great because we come back and get stopped out again. Comes down all the way to here again. So this is telling me, like, if I want a smooth equity curve, which is important, I don't just want high ROI, I want a smooth equity curve. It makes sense to take profit along the way, where it's like, let me take my 9R before it comes back to nothing, right? Consolidating in here. Uh, you know, as much as mad as I am that I missed this jackpot home run, like let me just keep advancing my stop under these lines, maybe. Maybe it goes higher, maybe it doesn't, but I can't round trip 10R. Okay, something we should go back down to this gap at least here. Hang on, there's a nice inside ladder here. This is the perfect setup. We swept major liquidity, stop loss inside of here. Aim for liquidity on the far side. Build. And down we go. Poke this gap, and we're out. Plus 12. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I'm cold and I want to go surf. Let's look at the local charts. Nothing's happening. Possible I'm the thing is, like, if it's too early to do a breakout, it doesn't really matter that much because there's a decent probability it wouldn't get filled, right? Although the way I have it set up, I expect it to break one way or the other. Maybe the first one's a false break, but yeah. Slow day in the markets today. I guess an inside a ladder short here would have worked and kind of would have made sense because hey, look, we swing forward a weekly level and had a major dump expansion. What if we short inside here? Now, it wouldn't have gone very far in favor, but it would have made sense. And I think for Bitcoin, that's something I had considered trading, although it hasn't worked quite as well. But yeah. Why is this not working? Well, I'm gonna take a break. Much love, guys. Peace and let's get it.